All right, we're going in. Be quiet.
What are we getting again? I don't get what this project is.
We're here to steal the old lady's dog.
Why her dog? Like, that seems like the stupidest thing to steal.
Well, she has a prize Pomeranian dog that people will pay a lot of money for. We can breed it and make a ton of money.
Okay. I mean, why are we doing it while she's here?
Because she never leaves the house. She's a shut-in. She only goes out for the competitions.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, we could have gone to the neighbor's house and just stolen money out of their safe or something.
Hey, man, just pay attention. We're here to steal a dog from an old lady.
You know what would be funny?
What?
If she woke up and she was like, I'll make you some sandwiches.
That's not funny. If she woke up, she'd probably call the cops and we'd get busted.
Oh, no. It's from a movie.
What movie?
It's called Bad Santa. You never seen that?
No, I've never seen it. Listen, man, get focused here. We're trying to steal an old lady's dog, so you need to get focused so we can do this.
I mean, I'm pretty focused, dude. Like,
you're not focused enough.
I'll make you some sandwiches.
You haven't seen it.
No way. You're out of order.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Fasten your seatbelts.
You're tearing me apart.
Houston, we have a problem.
What we've got here is failure.
Conceivable. God damn you all to hell!
Hello and welcome to
You haven't seen it?
The show where I force my wife to watch movies she's never heard of.
And I'm the wife that doesn't want to watch those movies.
Yes. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm about to go on break for Christmas break for my school, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, and I have to work like a whore, getting fucked.
You slut.
Dirty, dirty whore slut.
That's Joey. Middle name. So, Joey, what movie are we going to be watching today? Or which movie are we going to be talking about today?
We are going to be talking about the 2003 comedy movie Bad Santa.
Okay.
So it came out in 2003, like I said. It's got Billy Bob Thornton in it. It's got a
Which
kid.
one is Billy Bob Thornton?
Billy Bob Thornton is the guy who plays Santa.
Oh, okay.
It's got Tony Cox, I think, would probably be the next billed person on the movie. He is the little person actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, Tony Cox, Bernie Mac, John Ritter, Lauren Graham round out the cast. This would be John Ritter's last film. He died shortly after this.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it is. But Aaron, did you know anything about this film before we watched it?
Actually, I did know a little bit. I remember when it came out, it was there. I saw a lot of the the previews, like commercials for it.
Trailers and previews?
Trailers, yeah. I would see them on TV a lot. And I was younger, and my parents were a little more religious than I am. And so if my mom would not let me see this movie.
How old were you in 2003?
I was 18 in 2011, so...
Pretty young.
13, 12?
Yeah. I feel like that's the age that you would want to see this movie, but your parents are like, no.
Yeah, my mom would... My dad would watch it, but like my mom, if it was playing in the living room, my mom would have been like, turn it off! She didn't like inappropriate things or excessive cussing.
Oh, she still doesn't. If we were watching this around her now, she'd be like, you guys need to turn that off.
Mm-hmm. She'd be repulsed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw like little previews of it, and I had the same kind of thinking as my mom, and in the way of like, this is disgusting. I would not want to watch this.
Right.
So I even had that like, whenever you said, oh, we're going to watch Bad Santa, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, this movie's kind of raunchy. I don't know.
Which I don't mind raunch, but like I don't know what it is about this movie that from that previous like thought of my head, like this is going to be disgusting.
Yeah, it wasn't disgusting. There was some raunchy parts to it, but to me, like it just felt like it was a lot of cursing.
There's a lot of cursing.
A lot of cursing and name calling, and there was a few moments where I cringed, like, ooh.
Yeah, it definitely did not age well.
Yeah, there's like they use the pejorative for gay people in it, for gay men. And what was another part?
They use slur words for people that are dealing with disabilities.
Yeah, like they use the
R word a lot.
Oh yeah. And they said midget quite a bit.
Yeah.
Instead of little person. What else?
Which they did point out. But.
Yeah, they at least pointed out that you're not supposed to say that anymore. But yeah, this time around, I really did notice throughout the whole movie, it's just like a lot of cursing and name calling. It wasn't, I wouldn't call it raunchy, and it wasn't jokey either. Like, they didn't feel like jokes. It's just like...
He was a horrible person.
Yeah, just calling people dog shit. Like,
yeah.
You know, that's not really all that funny. It's just insulting.
Yeah. Which is what this movie is. It's just insults, one after the other.
Yes, lots and lots of insults. So this week we're going to be covering Bad Santa, and then 2 weeks from now we are going to be covering the horror movie for the holidays,
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, which we're going to have a lot to talk about with that one.
Okay, I'm excited.
That's an interesting... The movie's good, but also it had a lot of controversy around it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I was looking up this one. There was... Interestingly, no controversy around this movie. Yeah, I didn't see anything for it. If there was, and I just missed it, and I didn't find it, feel free to email us at joeyanderinpod@gmail.com. You can email us about dumb things we said, corrections, mistakes. Did we do something racist? Did we say something sexist? Let us know. Write in, everybody.
I would hope not.
So is there anything else that you want to say about this movie? Like, before we start getting into it scene by scene?
I don't think... Is Lauren Graham, is she from Gilmore Girls?
Yes, she was in Gilmore Girls.
That's all I could think about whenever I saw her face.
Yeah, it was funny for this movie when people would come on the screen, I would code them with something else that they had been in. Mm-hmm. So like Billy Bob Thornton and Bernie Mac were big enough stars for me to like know their names, but like when Lauren Graham came on, I was like, "Oh, it's Gilmore Girls."
Yeah.
And then who else was it? This guy AJ Naidu. He was from Office Space, so I just thought like, "Oh, the guy from Office Space."
He was from that.
Yeah. And he was kind of playing the exact same character, just kind of had a few screws loose.
Yeah, he was very homophobic.
Yes, he was.
Probably closeted. I think that's what they were getting at.
Well, he obviously had some sort of mental health issue going on.
Well, he was like, "I'm not gay."
Yeah, and he thought the Santa Claus guy wanted to have sex with him or something. But that's a very paranoid, schizophrenic thing to just be like, "Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say that," but like that's very paranoid to think like a person you've never met who you just saw is going to do something to you. But
also, it seemed like...
I mean, it was homophobic I'm not saying it wasn't homophobic.
No, yeah, but also it seemed like he was closeted. Like, he was like, "I'm not gay. I don't want to have sex with you." And... So you're not saying that he didn't have a few screws loose? Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's all I'm trying to get at.
People that are calling, like, doing that, going up to some random person, saying, like, "I'm not going to have sex with you." Homophobic people have some screws loose, for sure. But, yeah, like, I definitely think there was this underlining of he was also gay and was ashamed of himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely could have been. But they didn't really, develop his character very much. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to get in?
Weird. That whole scene was just like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, it really didn't have any point whatsoever. Oh, well, it was so that the little boy could save him.
Oh.
But it was not well written.
Yeah.
I think they could have found out a much better way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but they're like, well, it has to be raunchy.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to get into the movie?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. So the movie starts on Billy Bob Thornton. He's in the bar, and he's having an inner monologue about his life.
Yeah, I thought at first that it was like a family Christmas party because like people were passing around gifts. And then I saw that it was in a bar, and I was like, hey, I want my next family Christmas party to be in a bar. But then I was like, that wouldn't happen with my family.
No, oh, that would be really nice to be able to down some alcohol while dealing with family.
Yeah.
You really do have a wonderful family, though.
Yeah, they are pretty great. We actually had a Christmas party with them last week, this weekend. This past
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Which we're filming this on a Sunday, so.
Yeah, and her family is very, how would you say, like, most of your family would be appalled by this movie.
Oh, absolutely. They would not let me watch this. I don't think my Aunt Margie would let her daughter or son watch it, and they're fully grown adults.
Yeah, they would be like, stay away from this movie. My parents went to see this when it came out, and I was really surprised.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we went to see it. It was funny.
Oh my gosh.
But my dad likes characters like Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
In this movie.
But this character, like, he's a shitty kind of character, but he's saying in this monologue that he was made this way because his dad was abusive to him, which caused him to not like Christmas because his dad was abusive to him on Christmas and things like that, which is ironic that he's Santa now.
Yeah. So he essentially had a terrible father who gave him no skills in life, but taught him how to crack a safe. And that's pretty much it. And he even, what I didn't realize before, but he says it in this one, he basically says that he's suicidal and he's thinking about ending his life.
Yeah.
And you can tell because he's just drinking and doesn't have a care in the world.
Yeah. In that first monologue, that he literally says, I would have killed myself already if it hadn't been for something or another.
Right.
And so the next scene you see him in, he's like in his Santa suit, like being like, kids are sitting on his lap and he's asking them what they want for Christmas. And he keeps talking about like he's got to pee. And then he literally pees on himself at the end of the night.
Yeah. And this is also when we get introduced to Tony Cox, who is his friend and partner in crime, who is his elf, but also happens to be a little person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a perk.
Yeah, I guess
for this group is that he's little and he's elf-sized.
Yeah, I guess the kids get into it more. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anyway, he's the brains of the operation, and he is the one who has it together. So he's like, oh, you pissed yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that night, like he's walking out and the security guard seems suspicious of him and is like, your pants are real baggy. You sure not stealing anything? And
he's like, you got anything in there? And goes, my dick.
Yeah, do you want me to show you or something like that?
Yeah, which this is my issue with the movie, watching it, is like, there's not really jokes.
It's not.
It's just
references to sexual acts or references to body parts.
Yeah, your genitals are here. That's not a joke. That's like, if I said that to somebody at work, I would be like, it would be a slam, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not really funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, he leaves, and then you find out that Marcus, Tony Cox, is hiding in
a snowman.
Inside of a snowman.
The way he slid down that escalator, I thought was so funny.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if that was him or they hired a stunt little person.
Oh, they definitely hired a stunt person.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know if there are stunt little people.
Unless he does his own stunts, but most actors don't do their own stunts.
Well, no, actually, a lot of actors do their own stunts because they might not have somebody that looks like them. Or sometimes they just want to. Sometimes actors like doing stunts. Yeah. They can't do like the super dangerous ones, of course, or complex ones, but they do.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
But since he was just sliding down the center of an escalator, I thought it might actually be him. So he...
I guess it would depend on how safe it was at the bottom of the slide.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they would make it safe for him. So he slides down to the bottom, and you see the keypad counting down to 0, and he gets there like with 1 second left and pushes cancel. And then he goes and he lets Billy Bob Thornton in the back.
Yeah, so that he can go to the safe and start stealing money.
Yeah, and what I liked here was that when he opens the door, he's standing there and he's got like a whole 6-pack of beer cans on the ground. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, he's like throwing beers back. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just like crumpling them up and throwing them on the ground.
Yeah, and it's an interesting device. It was really smart of the filmmakers to have that countdown going for him to turn the thing off, because we know Billy Bob Thornton's character has only been out there for 2 minutes max, and he downed a whole 6-pack. So they're really showing you like what a descent he's on. Like he's in real bad shape. He drinks way too much. But he gets inside and he cracks the safe and they make off with the money.
And Tony makes a comment about how it took him longer than usual.
Yes, that's right. That's when they're at the bar?
Sorry. So no, he makes a comment like he comes into the room where the safe is, and he's like, "You still haven't cracked it?" And he's like, "I'm almost ready. I'm almost done." So he's like, "I'm gonna go get some loofahs," and then he finally opens it.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Forget the loofah," because they see all the money inside.
And they steal, I think he said $130,000.
Oh, I don't remember at all
That's what I
they
heard
said.
him say. But
Yeah.
it was in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, but I like he's just got a cart behind him and he's essentially going shopping for whatever his wife wanted.
Yeah.
I like the wife character a lot. I wish we had heard more from her.
She was funny.
Yeah. She was an Asian woman who was average height. So it was a really interesting couple, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. And so they steal all the money and then they get in the van, and then you see them in the next scene at a bar drinking and dancing.
Yeah. And they're dancing around, and Billy Bob Thornton says that he's going to get out of the business.
Yeah. He wants to go to Miami and clean up his life.
Right. And open a bar and run the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tony Cox says, "No, I'm going to call you next year if I call you, and you're going to be so happy to see me that you're going to get hat burn putting your hat on or something.
You're going to put your hat on so fast that you're going to get hat burn."
Yeah. So then the bartender asks him if they want another drink, and he says no and goes, "I'm already on the wagon."
Yeah.
So you're like, oh yeah, Billy Bob Thornton's going to get his stuff together.
So then it cuts to Miami, and he is behind this bar making a drink. And this other guy that works at the bar comes up behind him and is like, "What are you doing behind my bar?" and kicks him out, and he like downs this drink. So he hasn't changed his life at all.
Nope. He's still a piece of trash.
And he goes home and he's just drunk all the time.
No, then he steals a car from the valet.
That's after he goes home.
Oh, does he go home?
Yeah, because he goes to... Oh, yeah. No, maybe that's right. No, he goes home at some point because then he wakes up with the alarm and he throws beer. And then he drinks his last night beer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. And this is also how they let us know it's Christmas again. Because when his alarm goes off, it plays Christmas music from the radio. Which is really interesting because this whole movie takes place in places that don't have snow. And aren't like your normal
The first one
scenery.
does. The first place they're at.
Oh yeah, like
He
the
throws
first
up
mall
in
they're
the-
in. But I meant like the majority of the movie takes place in Arizona.
Yes.
And then you've got this little part at the beginning in Florida, which doesn't change. It doesn't snow in Florida, pretty much.
But then he goes into this valet parking lot and he steals a Porsche. And then he figures out where their house is.
No. That's a Jaguar, Aaron.
I don't know.
Not a Porsche.
Okay, I don't know cars, so don't at me, bro.
You're a mechanic's wife, and you don't know cars.
I don't know the difference between a CRV and a Matrix.
Those are both cars that we've owned, and you don't know the difference between them?
No. I know the difference.
All right, Aaron, keep it up. Keep not knowing cars.
It's never going to change, Joey. I just want you to know that. So that he goes to this place and he steals a Jaguar.
Yes.
A jaguar.
Jaguar.
A jaguar.
Jaguar. I don't like jaguars. They suck. And then he looks at the guy's
Glove box, and there's like his address book.
well, it was an insurance card that had his address
Oh,
on
okay.
it. So he goes to his house and he looks behind all the paintings to find a safe.
First, before he does that, he goes in the kitchen, drinks milk out of a glass, like milkman kind of glass.
Old school. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think that was a thing then. It would just be a carton.
No, you've never seen those milks at the store that they're in the glass bottle?
No.
Oh yeah.
I don't
like
look.
snobby people buy it.
But he drinks that and he eats a turkey leg.
That was even weirder to me. Who just has a turkey leg in there?
Maybe they have a whole turkey. It was
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're right.
A couple weeks
Could have
ago.
been after Thanksgiving. All right, you got me there.
And then he goes to the bathroom and poops really bad, and then it doesn't flush, and so he throws the turkey leg in the toilet.
Yeah, and then he's knocking down paintings to find a safe. Now, have you ever known anybody who's had a safe in their house, and not only that, they keep it behind a painting?
I don't know anyone with a safe that doesn't hold guns.
I don't know anybody with a painting.
Your parents have paintings.
Shut up. You're ruining my bit. Yeah, but that's weird. Like, this is such a movie trope.
Yeah.
Like that.
I don't
Someone
think
has a
that's
safe.
realistic.
Yeah, someone has a safe in their house, and you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see on the internet from time to time, like somebody's like, I moved into this house and it has a safe inside, and then people are like, you gotta open it and see what's in there,
Yeah.
and then they do, and there's nothing in there. Who would leave something valuable in
Yeah.
a safe? It doesn't make any sense. Most people have safes and they don't even have anything in them.
Yeah, I don't know.
A gun maybe would be the most likely thing.
Yeah, but he's like knocking down all these paintings. But then I don't think he's expecting there to be a safe where it is. Because when he does find the place that there's a safe, he looks behind it, picks it up gently, and puts it on the ground.
He does?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't flip that painting off. It's like a little boy or something.
Oh. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So he was just doing that to make it look like someone was going through the house, but they're not going to expect the safe.
Oh, okay. Good point. Yeah, I didn't really pick up on that. All right, so he finds a safe, cracks it, takes some money out of it, and then heads to a strip club.
Where he has lottery tickets.
Yeah, and he's scratching off the lottery tickets, and then he gives the...
one of the winning ones to a stripper.
Well, I thought it was just a waitress.
Oh, she looked like a stripper.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter. But anyway, if somebody gave you a scratch-off ticket with $3 as a
It was
tip...
$5.
Would you just be like, hey, that's as good as money?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. I'd take it.
I would too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's more like, thanks, $5. Like, she's like, I'm not worth more
Oh,
than $5.
you racked up like $100 in drinks. And
Yeah.
now,
Now you're going to give me $5? Thanks.
yeah. Doesn't he say that's worth $5?
No, she says, she like pulls it out of her underwear and she goes, thanks, $5. Yeah.
All right. And then
she goes home with him.
Yeah, that was weird. But anyway, that's not really the point. He goes home and he has a message on his message.
He has 3
sheet.
messages.
3 messages. Yes. And one is like he hit some lady's car and she's trying to get his insurance. And then I don't remember the other one.
There was debt collection, insurance, and I don't remember the last. Oh, it was him. It was his friend.
Yeah, I remember the Tony Cox character.
Yeah, it was just those 3. So it was debt collection, insurance, and then his friend Tony, Marcus. So Marcus is like, hey, it's time. We're meeting in Phoenix, Arizona now. And then you see him a couple days later in Phoenix walking in his Santa suit.
Yeah, which is a shot I really like in the movie because they're in their gear and they're walking in this parking lot and the heat wave lines are on there and you're like, well, this doesn't feel like Christmas at all.
Yeah. Also, this is one thing that I thought the movie was going to have, but it didn't. I thought there was like a little clip of them there was like a bunch of Santas.
No, I think that's a different movie,
Oh, okay.
but I can't think of which one it is right now.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. But I remember that. I was like, where are all the other Santas?
Oh, but you know what? There was a scene that was filmed with Sarah Silverman where she was playing the Santa trainer. So maybe there was some scene that they had filmed for the movie with a bunch of Santas, and that somehow made it into a trailer or a commercial, but then wasn't in the film. Because that happens sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember when Half Baked came out, there was a commercial where Jim Brewer was jumping over parking meters.
Yeah.
And he can't clear one, and it hits him in the crotch.
Oh.
And then I was a kid. I was like, I can't wait to see that movie. And I go to see it, and that part didn't happen. I was like, how come that didn't happen?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've experienced things like that too.
Yeah. All right. So then we're introduced to John Ritter, and he is getting.
He just fired the previous Santa.
Yep, that's right. And
but he doesn't say why. He was like, he was like, is it because they have a little person, or they called him the M word, but is it because they have the little person? And he's like, it's not because of that. And he's like, is it because you're paying him nothing? And he's like, that's not the reason either. It's like, so what is the reason?
Yeah, they never get to it though, right?
They don't. So it's just like, okay, well, he's hired these two horrible people for this job when he had a perfectly good one already.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the movie never explains it because they don't have a good reason. They should have just left that part out.
For real.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're talking to him, and Billy Bob Thornton makes an ass out of himself, and he says something about performance, and he's like, what, you think I can't perform? Like thinking he's calling him like a limp dick.
Yeah.
Or whatever, which is also just another bad joke.
Yeah.
It is like, oh yeah, let's just insert erectile dysfunction in that. That's funny, right, guys? Yeah, it's so funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is not very funny.
No,
there were like a couple laughs that we had in this, but it was not because there was one comedian. What's her name? Scroll down. But she's maybe go back. There's this one black woman. She's hilarious. She's in other things.
Oh, yeah. And, well, it's because they had set up that thing about, like, not shitting right for a week.
Yes.
And
that was the only time I actually was like, that's funny.
I had a genuine laugh because she's like a prostitute or a sex worker.
Well, previously, like, he got in trouble for having sex with someone in a dressing room. They were doing anal, and he says, you're not going to shit right for a week. And then later on, he comes up to this prostitute because someone's in his place, and he's like, did you see anyone? She's like, I don't want to talk to you. Last time I talked to you, I couldn't shit right for a week.
Yeah, that was really funny.
It was a really good comedic, like, timing, and everything was great.
Yeah, the funniest thing for me in this movie was the kid, the little curly-haired kid.
Yeah.
Like, his line delivery was funny, I thought, and the way he said stuff. But no, I mean, this movie was so devoid of actual jokes, and it was just totally predicated upon like insults, and not funny insults, because insults can be funny, like Don Rickles type stuff. Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
It was just a comedian who used to insult people, but he was good at it.
Yeah, this movie was just insult after insult, and it was like, what was the point of this?
Yeah. And then we are also introduced to Bernie Mac, who is security in this. Mm-hmm. And I really like his wardrobe in it. I don't think they intended to hire a black guy to play this role, do you?
I don't know.
Because he's dressed like a cowboy the whole time. He's dressed like sort of like an old-timey sheriff because he's got a hat on and a bolo tie and like a Western suit.
I mean, there's black people that are country.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think they didn't write that character as a black person. I don't think. I think Bernie Mac came in and read for it, and they're like, let's get this guy because Bernie Mac is funny, you know, and it'll just be.
There was also this, like, the trope of like Friday where he was constantly eating.
Yeah. I read that was supposed to be like, oh, his character's constipated because he's eating oranges, and then at one point he's mixing up like fiber stuff in his drink.
But where does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. It's just a little choice. Like, you make little choices like that.
Yeah.
You know, about your character or the filmmakers or the writer or whatever. And sometimes it'll just be something that they know that nobody else does, but it rounds out the character.
Well, no, yeah. Like, there's... But the thing that's weird about it is, like, I would have said, that's a choice. If it was my student, I'd be like, that's a choice. I don't understand why it's a choice, but it's a choice. It just didn't make.
Well, speaking of Friday, did you notice something about this movie that was similar to Friday?
That it was like nothing happened?
No.
A journey?
No. Bernie Mac and Tony Cox are also in Friday. And they
you're right.
also have an interaction with each other.
You're
that
right.
is where they don't like each other.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you're right. Because Bernie Mac was the pastor.
Yeah, he was the horny
and
pastor.
Tony was the lady's husband.
Yeah, and he catches them fooling around.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until now. Yeah.
Yeah. I picked up on that right away. So John Ritter goes to Bernie Mac because he's concerned that maybe Thornton and Cox don't have the best intention.
Yeah.
Because they cursed or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to fire him, but he can't really find a reason.
Yeah. Which we find out later some things about that. He asks Bernie Mac's character to look into him to see what he can do to fire him. He's looking for anything, but he can't. Bernie says he can't find anything, which is not true, because earlier in the film he gets all these calls like, "Hey, you owe us money. Oh, you wrecked into my car," and all those other things. So there's definitely a record of him.
Oh yeah.
So him going up, they're clean. They've never cursed in front of a kid and all this other stuff. Whenever he said that, I was like, really? Maybe they're just real good at being slick. But then I realized later when he was like, I want to be part of this, that he just didn't tell him that stuff.
Yeah, he was covering so that he could get half of what they were going after. And then after that, we meet the Gilmore Girl.
Well, we meet the kid first.
Do we? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because the kid, like, the first day he's there, the kid sits on his lap and he sneezes on him. And he sneezes chocolate all over his face.
Yeah, and we see him asking Billy Bob Thornton a bunch of questions about being Santa and all this. And Billy Bob Thornton actually interacts with him more than he does the other kids.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
And then you see the kid go by the skateboard kids, and you see that they're bullying him. And then he goes back to Santa. And I don't really remember what he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of stands there and looks at him. And he's like, what's wrong with this kid?
Yeah, but he just waits in the parking lot that day.
Yeah, and then you see him later in the parking lot. He's been following him.
Yeah. And but before that, Billy Bob Thornton is at a bar, and that's where he meets Gilmore Girl and sees the Office Space guy. This is how the whole movie was in my head. I was just like, okay, so the Gilmore Girl goes to the office. I just had everybody from their previous work. And you find out that she has a thing for Santa.
Because she's Jewish.
Because she's Jewish. Yes, that's right. And they end up having sex in the parking lot. And you can tell that she kind of likes him.
Yeah. And it's not just about the Santa thing.
No, it's not just about the
Even
Santa
though
thing.
he has to wear the hat every time.
Yeah, she does. She says, leave the hat on. And then the guy tries to, we talked about it earlier, the guy who obviously has some sort of mental health issue tries to rape Billy Bob Thornton.
Which is another point to he's ashamed of his own sexuality.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay.
But I'm just saying the whole thing, however where you put it, is just very cringy and could have done a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Than just a random guy who also happens to be South Asian with an accent runs up to him and is like, I'm not gonna let you fuck me or something like that.
Yeah.
And then in turn tries to turn around and fuck him. Like it's offensive to South Asians. It's offensive to people with mental health issues. It's offensive to gay people. It's very offensive.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. It was very cringy for me.
Yeah, which was nice that the kids then saved him by, I guess he like grabbed onto the guy.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not quite sure. It didn't make a whole lot of sense either, but the kid saves him and Billy Bob Thornton gives him a ride home.
Yes, where he is like taking him to his house and he goes into this really nice neighborhood. And he goes, who do you live with? Do you live with your mom or your dad? And he's like, no, my dad's discovering mountains or something like that.
Yeah, what was
exploring mountains.
What was that about? Do you think his dad was really exploring mountains?
No, his father was in prison.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, that's what Bernie Mac went to get to the prison. That's his dad. And he asked, does anyone live with, or is anyone, it's just, and he's like, it's just my mom. And then he goes, do you have any house guests? And he goes, house guests? Because that's his house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I must have missed that part.
Yep, you definitely did. Because then later on, in the end of the movie, he tells the kid that Tony and the lady are going to be exploring mountains with your dad for a while until he gets out.
Oh, okay.
Until he gets back in a year and a half.
Oh, all right. Yeah, wow, I really must have missed that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but
and then
he asks him, like, oh, is she sprightly?
Spry.
Or spry? Is she spry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he says his mom is dead and that he goes in there with his grandmother and she comes up and she's like, oh, you're home. I'll make you some sandwiches.
Yeah.
Which is
Billy has, or his name is Willie, actually.
Willie Bob Thornton.
No, Willie is the character name.
Willie Bobby.
Yep. He has a ski mask on. And the grandma doesn't notice at all.
No, she just goes, oh, I'll make you some sandwiches. But it's kind of a fun reveal because she says that and then it shows him in the ski mask.
Yeah. Well, he put the ski mask on before he walked in.
Yeah, I know, but you don't really see it until after she says that.
He walks in the house and you see him behind the kid.
Yeah, but they don't really like point the camera at it that much.
Okay.
They kind of wait to fully reveal it. So you know that the grandma is she's a little demented, right?
She should not be watching after a kid for sure.
No, this kid is pretty much on his own.
Yeah.
And Billy Bob Thornton realizes it and takes advantage, steals the car. What else does he do? Does he just steal the car pretty much?
Yeah, he just steals a car.
Oh, and he goes, hey kid, does your dad have a safe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
so he steals money in the car, and then he goes back home. Or I don't know. I don't think he goes back home. He goes to...
I think that's when he gets caught having sex in the
dressing room.
Right. And then they get interrogated by Ritter, which is kind of funny the way they get out of it by saying, like, you can't... This guy, he's a little person and he's black. If you fire him, you're going to have a bunch of 150 people look just like him with tiny picket signs outside. I thought that was funny. That was a good joke for me.
Yeah, like the tiny picket signs.
Tiny picket signs. Funny. And then so he heads back to his hotel where he realizes it's been ransacked or something. Or what is that? Somebody...
He sees someone inside his hotel.
Do you think that was Bernie Mac that was in there?
Probably. Oh. Probably trying to find some dirt on him and everything.
Because they never said who it was.
Yeah. But she said it looks like a cop, which I'm thinking she thought Bernie Mac was a cop.
Yeah, because he kind of did dress like a sheriff.
Yeah. So, but that's the woman that says I didn't shit right for a week.
Yeah, that was a really good line. And she delivered it good too. Mm-hmm. So then he goes back to the...
Oh, that woman that played that prostitute, she was in... it's that movie that she like bakes a shit pie and gives it to someone. She's a slave.
No, she's not a slave. She's just a housekeeper.
A housemaid. Oh yeah. Okay.
But I can't remember.
Isn't it called housemaid? Maybe.
I don't. Maybe.
It's got oh my god, I can't remember. I don't know anybody's name. I feel
Yeah.
so bad.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the
the
name.
redhead girl,
Emma Stone?
Emma Stone. It has her in it.
Yeah, it does. And then also I think she was in a movie shortly after that about women who help out at NASA.
Yeah, she was.
I'm just very unclear. Like movies that came out within the last 10 years, like I'm really not very clear on. But then he goes back to the kid's house, and that's when you find out that he wants a pink elephant, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember when he actually asks for the pink elephant. But he's like, I'm going to stay here with you. And the kid starts talking more. He is like, what can I get you? Can I get you anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, he has to bring up sandwiches. That's a big
Yeah,
through
he's like,
line.
I'll make you a sandwich.
And he tells the kid, like, Mrs. Claus caught me fucking her sister.
Yeah.
So I have
Mrs.
to move
Claus's
out.
sister.
So I have to move out for a little bit. And since my sleigh is in the shop and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
he's just making it up. And then he goes to sleep. And the next day, the kid wakes him up with the advent calendar.
Yeah.
So the advent calendar is kind of important because it's later what they use to show that Billy Bob Thornton is kind of like growing a conscience.
Yeah. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm not sure what happened to the advent calendar.
What do you mean?
Like, because it gets destroyed at one point and he has to fix it. So he fixes it. But, like, how did it get destroyed? I don't.
Billy Bob Thornton got drunk one night after Gilmore Girls came to see him.
Oh, okay.
And then he tears it up. And then he passes out on the floor.
Oh.
And then the next day he sees it and he realized he really screwed up.
Oh, okay.
Because that kid cared about it a lot. So then they're in the food court again with Tony Cox. And Tony Cox is just telling him how fed up he is with him. And
Yeah, because he keeps coming in drunk and wasted. And
yeah, super sloppy drunk, yelling at kids, people's parents, stuff like that. But then he ends up yelling at somebody, some kid and their mom again because he's like, you can't even let me finish eating on my lunch break.
yeah. Like, this woman's trying to, like, get her kid to, like, see Santa. And he's like, I'm on my fucking lunch break. And he starts screaming at her. And she's, like, appalled. But after that moment, I noticed, I wrote the note down, like, this is a slow movie.
You really think it was that slow?
Yeah.
I think it moved at a pretty good clip. It was only it was only like 100 minutes long.
But I think I'm saying it was, I don't know. I just felt like a lot of it was like, why is this happening? You know?
Yeah, there definitely are. I think in the middle, they are really searching for scenes to put in the movie.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, let's let them yell at another parent. And at this point, this time when we watched it, I was like, yeah, this is just getting old. They keep using the same quote unquote jokes over and over again. Like, oh, he's drunk. He says something about his penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it gets real
Repetitive.
It gets real repetitive. It turns into a slog. And then more to your point, what happens next is they have Bernie Mac having a scene where he catches a kid stealing.
Yeah.
Which has no bearing on the film whatsoever.
Exactly. I think that's what happened. Like, that made me write that down. I'm like, this is the most slow movie. Like, why am I seeing this?
Yeah.
It
And
doesn't have anything to do with anything.
the story progresses pretty fast, but it's just like, it's a real slog in the middle.
Yeah.
And so he catches this kid stealing, and Bernie Mac is very good in the scene because he's just funny. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, okay, you catch a kid stealing, you make fun of him, and then you take his MP3 player away because I guess the iPods didn't exist yet. And then that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for the scene. I thought maybe something would turn out from that.
Yeah. No. And then the little kid goes past the skater boys again, and they wedgie him. They give him a wedgie. And then he goes to the mall and walks up to the Santa, and he sees that he's been bullied.
Right.
Which is that when he beats him up?
No, that's a little bit later. First, he tells them, like, hey, go back out there and stand up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them push you around. And then we don't see anything for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes back and he plays checkers with the kid. And the kid, like, totally sharks him.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that part?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute.
It was
That
cute.
he was actually trying to play checkers with him.
Yeah.
But then he wins and Billy Bob shows his ass again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Matt Walsh, did you recognize him?
No.
The guy who comes to the front door about the lights?
No.
No, that's Matt Walsh. He's one of the UCB4. Amy Poehler. Matt Walsh.
Really?
Yeah. One of the guys who founded UCB. He pops up in a lot of stuff. And then there was one of those commercials for the rotisserie oven that the grandma was watching.
I saw that and I was like, my childhood. I would
Staying up
wake
late,
up.
watching
I would wake up
infomercials?
and I would watch those infomercials.
Oh, God, I love them, man. I love the short little English dude. He wore a bow tie.
I don't know.
Yeah, those might have been a little too old for you. And then that's when he gets drunk and he eats the advent calendar. And he's been hanging out with Gilmore Girls,
Yeah.
right? And their relationship seems to be progressing.
Mm-hmm. They're having sex in hot tubs. And
Yeah, and they actually kind of have like a heart to heart on the couch when he's drunk, which I was like, oh, this is good. This is kind of progressing the character a little bit. I like how they progressively kind of let him become a good character.
Yeah.
Instead of just, one instance.
Yeah.
And now
It wasn't a
he's a good
save
guy.
the cat moment. It was save the cats, plural.
Save the cats moment. Yeah, there was no real save the cat moment in this movie. But it doesn't need one. Because you're not supposed to think he's a good guy at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Also, he wakes up one day and he hears the kid screaming and he runs down and there's blood all over his hands and he like puts his hands on Willie and so he tries to help him by like pouring alcohol on his hands.
Yeah, and it just makes him scream more.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you it's gonna sting a little.
Yeah. And then is that when he gives him the new advent calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he keeps asking about the advent calendar and he's like, it's in there. And he's like, did something happen to my advent calendar? They're having he's like cooking bologna.
Oh, right. This is the bologna scene.
And he says like, oh, he's like, something's wrong with this. And he's like, it's normal.
It totally looks fine.
And he opens
It was like that when I got here.
He opens it up and he's like, a candy corn. And the little thing on top is taped.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is taped back together. And then when he gets a little candy corn piece, I thought to myself, like, ooh, did David Pumpkin show up?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Um,
And so you can see he's starting to grow a conscience.
yeah.
This is the first time he's like actually said, oh, something I did caused or could cause somebody else pain and misery. So
A
he's
little
like
kid.
a little kid. But that's the first time in the entire movie he's ever shown like, oh, maybe there's consequences for my actions.
But then later on, Bernie Mac meets with Tony and Willie, or Marcus and Willie. Oh my God. Those two characters. And he tells them like, hey, I know everything. And I want in. And Marcus is trying to like negotiate. He's like, let me negotiate. And he's like, I want 50%. And Tony says, no, I want we can do 10%. And then he keeps raising him higher and higher and higher. The way Bernie Mac delivers those, 50.
Yeah, it's funny. Like
That was funny.
Yeah, that's
Because
funny.
Bernie Mac's funny.
Yeah, he's really funny. And also, like, he can deliver the word 50 in a dozen
50 different ways.
50 different ways. That was really funny.
Yeah.
And I also like the way that Tony Cox kept him going. Like, he's like, okay, there's three of us. We'll just split it three ways. 30, 30, 30. And he's like, 32. Like, he really keeps him going.
Yeah.
It was good. So then they show them casing the security of the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they really could have gotten a scene like figuring out the security of the mall with Bernie Mac because he's the security guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Like, also, like, couldn't have Bernie Mac just closed the place down? Quote unquote, close it down for them?
Yeah, I really think they could have got some more scenes with Bernie Mac in there of them like working out the security.
But the thing is, never mind. Yeah, he dies.
Well, yeah, he dies after that.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking like they could have had more scenes with Bernie Mac, which would have been good.
Yeah.
Because he's like the funniest dude in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, missed opportunity in my opinion. And then they try to shoehorn another scene in there where Bernie Mac gets his feet done at the salon.
Yeah.
Which was funny, but it was like still unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like what else are you telling us?
They were just trying to shoehorn him in.
Yeah.
Because he was funny.
Yes. I guarantee that's what was it.
But like,
that might have been his idea.
Maybe. I don't know. But then you go to the next scene, Willie's in the car with the exhaust pipe going into the into the main part of the car. I don't know what it's called.
The cabin?
Sure.
Again, Aaron, married to a mechanic. You need to know the words, car words.
I don't know car words.
You don't know car words?
No.
What do you call the thing that you see out of?
A car.
A window.
In a car?
In a car.
Windshield.
A car windshield.
I know it's like a windshield.
You need to learn car words.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he's got the classic, this is in a lot of movies,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it every time they do it because it makes me laugh. The hose out of the tailpipe and into the cabin of the car.
Yeah.
On modern cars, it would take you days to kill yourself.
Really?
Yeah, because they're so fuel efficient. They're so efficient now. They use computers. So what they used to do is like all the gas, all the fumes from the unburned gas
Mm-hmm.
would slowly kill you from the carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
But now they don't work that way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they still use it in movies all the time. So,
Well, this was in 2003.
oh yeah, this would go back to like the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Unless you had a carbureted car.
Oh, okay.
But anyway.
Are the carbureted cars the ones that have spark plugs?
No, they all have spark plugs.
Still?
All gasoline cars
Why don't
have
you
spark
change
plugs.
them?
What do you mean, why don't you change them?
Why don't you change the spark plugs anymore?
Because I'm a diesel mechanic.
What?
Diesel engines don't have spark plugs.
No, but like, why don't they change my spark plugs?
Well, because most spark plugs are iridium now, and they have like you can go on those for 120,000 miles.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Way to go, spark plugs.
Way to go, spark plugs.
But the kid comes in and he sees him, and Willie's like, "Here, take this letter. Whenever when the cops show up, give them this letter."
Yes, and this will be important later on in the movie.
Yeah. And he sees the kid and he's like, "What happened to your eye?" And he realized, and then the kid tells him that the skateboard kids beat him up. And so he goes, and it's the next day in the morning, and he beats up the little kid, or the skateboard kid.
Yeah. Was there anything notable about that? I was taking a note when he did that.
When he beat them up?
Yeah.
No.
Does
he just beat him up.
Oh, okay. It must have been short because like I took a note.
It was a very short scene.
Okay. Yeah. And then they're in the locker room. And
No, they're in the punching gym, boxing ring.
No, this is the part where you see Tony Cox and Billy Bob Thornton in a locker room. Well, maybe it was at the boxing place. I don't know. But he says, "I think I've turned a corner today."
Oh, maybe.
And Tony Cox says, "What are you, fucking petites now?" Because there was a whole thing about him fucking plus size women.
Yeah.
Which is another bad joke.
Yeah.
But he's like, "No, I beat up some kids today." And Tony Cox is like, you have hit a new low.
Yeah.
You know, like there's like 5 scenes in this movie where Tony Cox just goes off on him and just like, "You're dog shit. You're pure human garbage." Like, you know, and I was like, okay, all right, we get it.
Yeah. He's a trash person.
Yeah. You don't have to tell us anymore.
Yeah, but then he brings the little kid to a boxing ring, and he's like amping him up, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna learn to defend yourself." And then he like steps back, and then Marcus is also in gear, and he's like, "Do I have to really do this?"
Yeah, and there's a funny reveal of it too, because he's just talking to the kid, and you don't know who he's gonna have him sparring against, and then turns around and it's Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he calls the kid the R word, which wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And the kid kicks him in the balls.
And then he gets kicked in the balls. And then Billy gets kicked in the balls. And then everyone just gets kicked in the balls.
Yeah, and they're just all laying on the ground, kicked in the balls, which is another, like, I wasn't thinking about this
Low
until
punch.
just
Below the belt.
again, this is 2003 when this movie comes out.
Yeah.
All the ball kicking gags happened in the 90s. And I guess some in the 80s too. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It's not funny to see somebody get kicked in the balls anymore.
Yeah.
I argue it never really was.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like way out of date joke by 2003 in my opinion.
Yeah. And then later on you see Santa and Santa's wife's or Mrs. Santa's sister. They walk into the living room and the lady's like watching another infomercial, and she's like passed out, her mouth's open, and she looks dead.
Yes.
And then like he's trying to he's like, grandma, she's not waking up, and he puts his he tries to feel if she's breathing. He can't tell, so he puts his head on her chest, and then she's like, let me make you some sandwiches.
Yeah, and he's scared, and he's like, you scared the shit out of me. But the thing here is that he's actually, it was genuine.
Yes.
It wasn't
he was like, I'm concerned.
Yeah, I was concerned for her. And also, if you notice, this is the first time they've been out on a real date. He's not drunk.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in the movie where he's worn like respectable clothes.
Really?
He didn't notice that? He had like a shirt and slacks on.
No, I didn't notice
Well, I
that.
guess when he was in Florida, he kind of did. But
He also, whenever he was at the dinner with Bernie Mac, he had like a polo on.
did he? I don't remember that.
Because I noticed, I was like, why is he dressed so nice?
And then also with the boxing scene too, that was, if you want to say there's a save the cat moment in this movie, it's that. It's when he actually does something good for another person for the first time. And then, so that same date night, he's having sex with Gilmore Girls. And, but it's not like they're just going to town. Like it's actually sensual and intimate.
Yeah.
And the kid walks in on him. And he doesn't yell at the kid.
No, he's not phased at all.
Yeah. And then what does the kid give him?
He gives him a pickle. A wooden pickle.
He says it's a wooden pickle.
It's so cute.
And then he says, why is it brown?
Why'd you paint it brown?
And he's like, because I cut my hand while I was making it for you.
Which is the sweetest thing ever.
And I'm really glad that they said it was brown because blood turns brown. So I'm glad they didn't say it was a red.
Yes.
So good on them. And I wrote in my notes, his heart grew 5 sizes that day.
Aww. I put, he cut his hand making Santa a gift.
Oh.
Also, earlier I put a note of like, bad Santa's going to become good Santa.
Bad Santa's become badass Santa.
Yeah. And then I think the next scene, the little kid runs into the kitchen, and he's like, look at my report card, I did so good. And then you look at it, and it's a 1 B, and then the rest is C's. Oh
man, that was my report card minus the B.
It was an F.
It might have been, truly. God, I was not a good student.
I wasn't either.
Yeah, and then we also find out that his name is Thurman.
He goes, who's Therma? He goes, me.
And he looks at his report card and it says Thurman Merman.
That was a good joke.
Yes, that genuinely made me laugh. And that was a good joke. Mm-hmm. It wasn't contrived and about a penis.
Yeah.
It was funny.
And then he's later on, he's lighting up the little bags that, I was about to say UFC, UCB. UCB guy
Yeah.
asked him to light up these lanterns. And so he was like lighting them up for the neighborhood. And the kid comes out and he's like, hey, it's like Christmas Eve. You're going to be gone. Is there anything you're going to give me? Because the kid was like, I don't have any friends. I don't have anybody to like, Mom, I haven't had a Christmas.
Yeah. He asked
years.
him like, he's like, why haven't you brought me any gifts? I didn't get any gifts for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, look, I'm not really Santa.
Yeah.
You know, I've been using you essentially. And I just wanted to say, like, I think this kid, like, he gets all the best jokes in this movie.
Yeah.
And his delivery, I'm not sure if he was trying to do that or if they just got lucky because this kid is like so deadpan. Mm-hmm. And like, he doesn't react to anybody saying, I'm not sure that he's a good actor,
mm-hmm.
but he was a great choice for this movie.
Yeah.
Because whatever he's doing, it's working. He has all the best jokes.
Yeah.
And then
it cuts to he goes to the mall. He's like, I'll be back for dinner. And so he goes to the mall.
Oh, wait, you're skipping something though. Then Tony Cox's character is mad at Bernie Mac because remember they had that fight when Billy Bob Thornton shows up drunk to the mall. They have that fight, and Tony Cox had some funny lines in there, and he's like, oh. Bernie Mac says, oh, like you need extra help because you're handicapped or whatever. He's like, it's a matter of physics. I can't lift this guy up. I'm 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like that was a funny exchange. Maybe those two, since they were in Friday together.
Yeah, they had good chemistry.
Yeah. Or just maybe they knew each other from comedy or something like that. But that scene was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I thought there was some good jokes in there. I just didn't write any of them down.
Yeah. But then you see Bernie Mac go somewhere and Tony is following him and they see that he leaves somewhere and then so they stop on the side of the road and say like, oh, our car's needs to be jump started. And he goes, what, do I look like a mechanic? But he jumps them anyway.
Yeah, and then Tony Cox can't do the jumper cables, so Bernie Mac does it. And then he's like, try it. And he sits there in between the cars smoking a cigarette. And the wife, which this is her best moment in the movie, rams the two cars together, pinching him in between. Or pinching? Is it pinch?
Pinch.
Okay, I just want to make sure if it's pinch or pinch.
Just, so I'm from East Texas and it's real country town and people talk like this and we don't say pinch, we say pinch. So he always jokes like that about me. So
yeah. And also it's not a refrigerator. It's an ice box.
It's an ice box.
Okay.
You can also call it a refrigerator, but it's an ice box.
Anyway, she makes fun of the things I say too. So what do I say that you always make fun of?
I don't know. I can't think of them right now.
So anyway, they pinch him in between the cars, and then
I hate you.
His wife goes, "Oh, I needed more of a running start."
Yeah.
She's like, "This lady's a psychopath."
Yeah,
it is the only time she really has any sort of character development, and you're like, "No, this lady's a lunatic."
Yes,
and she hits him a second time. So that was pretty good. And then Tony Cox says like, oh, you broke 50% of his ribs. Or is that just 30%?
Yeah. And he slaps him in the ribs.
Yeah. So then this is when they're going to actually rob the mall.
Yeah. So he goes to the mall and they start getting everything done. And he was like, this is a hard safe to crack. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, he said somebody told him it's an uncrackable safe.
Yeah, and he's like, so you can't do it? We wasted all this time so you could say that you couldn't do it. And he goes, no, it's just going to take me longer. And so he starts working on cracking the safe. You see him like sweating and trying to crack it, but he's having a hard time. And then Tony's also like
doing his shopping for his wife.
Yeah. And he asks him like, "Oh, does Bernie Mac's character want that?" And he goes, we don't have to worry about him anymore or something like that.
Yeah, because Billy Bob Thornton was never in on the murder part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony Cox essentially says, I'm going to do you a favor and end your life because you're just getting worse and worse, and it's not worth having you around or whatever.
Yeah. Because he opens the safe and then he pulls pulls the gun out on him.
Right.
And then you hear another gun cock and like people saying, put the weapon down. So the police are there, and the guy said, or did you say that? The kid.
No, I think Billy Bob Thornton says, oh God, the kid, because he's like, he knew that the kid gave the police the letter at that point.
Yeah.
Because nobody would have known otherwise.
So the letter was about his confession of like, we've been doing this to all these different malls.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So the police come after them. They've been trying to track these guys down for years. And they just come out guns a-blazing.
Blazing.
Yeah. It was some real police brutality overreach type bullshit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But then Billy Bob Thornton escapes the gunfire and tries to run all the way back home to the kid's house so he can give him the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And he makes it to the front.
He can give him the elephant.
Yeah, the elephant, not the Santa Claus. He wanted to give him the DVD of the Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Yeah, the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. He had it. That was in the original script.
Okay.
Not a lot of people knew that. But anyway, so he...
That's not true.
Shut it. So he doesn't get the elephant all the way to him, and you think that Billy Bob Thornton's going to die.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad. And I didn't remember the ending.
Yeah, they killed Santa.
Yeah.
But then you see the elephant with blood on it that's turned brown.
Yes.
And there's Willie reading over the letter that he sent to the little kid, Thurman.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say real quick that like when you see his transformation and then you think that he's going to die on the front step, it makes you realize like, oh wait, I actually was rooting for this guy.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty smart device, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
So like he says in the letter that he's going to be getting out pretty soon because since he wrote the letter, they're like, he was confessing to it and everything. So that's what tipped him off.
Right.
So like, not only was it that Thurman gave them the letter, but it makes it look like Billy was doing that on purpose.
Yeah, like he was doing the right thing.
To show the cops so that they could catch him.
Right, exactly.
And then the kid is, since the grandma's so out of it, Gilmore Girls is taking care of him temporarily for custody.
But he still calls her Mrs. Claus's sister.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's there hanging out in the hot tub and helps him put on a shirt, which I thought this was really funny. The shirt on the back of it says, "Shit happens when you party naked," which I thought was a pretty funny joke.
Yeah. So the kid puts it on. He goes outside to his bike, and then the skater kid comes up and is like, "Oh, you got me a bike?" And then Thurman kicks him in the balls.
Yeah.
Another ball kick.
Yes, another ball kick, but this one is kind of earned just a little bit.
And then he rides off in his little bike and flips them off.
Yeah.
And then it's out with a movie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was the end of the movie. So, Aaron, I have to ask you, as this is the first time you've seen this movie ever in your entire life.
In my life.
What is your no bullshit assessment of this film?
My no bullshit assessment is, if you like raunchy comedies that aren't really joke heavy and it's just crude humor, this is a wonderful movie for you. I'm not super into that. I did not enjoy the movie, but there were times where I was cringing so much that I couldn't enjoy some parts. I'm thinking like maybe if it was a more modern take on it and it wasn't so crude or crass, like I would feel like, oh, okay, like it's a decent movie. I feel like the story of it was played out longer than it should have been. It could have been an hour and 20-minute movie instead of an hour 40. but I don't know if that's a common thing for movies.
What do you mean? It was an hour and 20 minutes?
No. You said it was an hour 40?
No, I said, yeah, it was an hour and 40 minutes. That's right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is it could have been cut down to an hour 20.
Oh, yeah. They could have found 10 minutes to cut out of it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
10 to 20 minutes.
All right. Is that the end of your no bullshit assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
Too long for what it was and very crude, crass humor that I'm not into.
Yeah. I want to say that the movie, like all the big plot points work out.
Yeah.
And it has a satisfying ending. The ending was very satisfying.
I liked the ending.
Yeah. But if you.
And 4 jokes.
The ending and 4 jokes. But the humor is barely there. Right? It's just a bunch of dick jokes and slurs against different types of people, and Bernie Mac was definitely the funniest part.
Yes.
One thing I do kind of appreciate about this is like I don't feel like you can make movies like this anymore.
What do you mean?
Like in the Marvel movie era and the Avatar era, you can't make a movie about a Santa Claus that talks about his dick that much.
Yeah.
And like you just couldn't make this movie and people wouldn't go see it today. It would fall flatter than a really flat thing. Do you know what I mean? The flat thing that I'm talking about?
A pancake?
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
But I think since the movie was executed well enough that people remember it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who love to watch this at Christmas time because it's counter to all the other like cutesy tootsy Santa Claus things. Or Christmas things, but personally, I don't ever need to see this movie again.
Me either.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the movie. All right, Aaron, so I got a segment for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to play Fuck, Marry, Kill
Okay.
Christmas edition.
Christmas.
All right, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to fuck, marry, kill people who have played Santa Claus.
Oh.
So we've got Tim Allen
Okay.
from The Santa Claus. Then we have Tim Allen from The Santa Claus 2. And now we have Tim Allen from The Santa Claus 3. Go.
Wait,
Fuck, marry, kill. Let's go.
What? Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. That's not really the real ones.
Okay. Because
All
I
right.
was about to say kill. Because Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, not a great guy, but I don't think he should be murdered.
I don't think he should be murdered either, but I don't want to marry him or fuck him.
Okay, so we've got Tim Allen. You remember Paul Giamatti from Sideways?
The bald guy?
Yes, the bald guy.
Yes.
Right? So we've got
He played
Tim
Santa
Allen.
Claus?
Yeah, I forget the name of the movie now, but he played Santa Claus recently. And here's the good one. Mel Gibson. You know who that is?
Isn't he like...
Isn't he like what, Aaron?
He's not a good person.
Aaron, I will not have you sully his name.
Hold
He
on.
was Mad Max.
Oh, okay. Who was the guy that was like...
No, he is like Mel Gibson's a piece of shit. He's anti-Semitic and
That's what I thought.
a drunken abuser. But yeah, he was the original Mad Max, not the
Yeah.
one we saw on Fury Road. That was a
Okay.
different guy. But anyway, I'm sorry. You have to fuck, marry, kill Mel Gibson, upstanding citizen Mel Gibson, Paul Giamatti, or the enlightened Tim Allen.
Oh my God.
Nothing bad has ever come out about Paul Giamatti. So
That's the guy I'm marrying, clearly. But who am I going to fuck and who am I going to kill?
you want to see pictures of him?
I think I would... I don't know. Tim Allen has like daddy vibes a little bit.
Oh, he's got real dad vibes. He was the dad in Home Improvement.
Uh-huh. I think that's why I think of him only as a dad.
Right.
But Mel
I don't-
Gibson, but he's old. They're all old.
Okay. I mean, you can take them at their prime. Mel Gibson was pretty handsome when he
He
played
was
Mad
pretty
Max.
handsome when he was in Mad Max.
Yeah.
And was he anti-Semitic then?
He's always been. He got it. His father was extremely anti-Semitic.
Really?
They moved from New York to Australia because of how anti-Semitic he was.
I thought he was just
You thought he was born
in
No,
Australia.
he was
Oh
born in
my
New York.
God. Whew. And what's the bad parts about Tim Allen?
He's just like an asshole conservative.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was trafficking cocaine and ratted the people out to avoid jail time or something like that.
Okay. Oh, this is hard. God, there's so many reasons I would fuck or kill them. Mel Gibson at his prime, he was pretty handsome, but he was also, but I'm not Jewish, so he wouldn't hate me. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
But you used to work at the Jewish Community Center.
I did
so
work at the Jewish Community Center.
You're
I
guilty
loved
by
it.
association in his eyes.
Oh no. Oh no. Yikes. But I can't see Tim Allen. I would not want to fuck him. He's too much. I can't think of him.
I just imagine him coming into the room. Hey, you want to?
Oh my God, gross. Okay, yeah, he's the one I'm killing. I'm gonna fuck Mel Gibson.
You're gonna fuck Mad Max.
Yeah.
All right.
He played Santa.
Oh, yeah, but it was not like in a straight over the plate Christmas movie. It was called The Fat Man, and it was. I don't even know what it was about, but he technically played Santa in it.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so you want to stick with that? You're marrying Paul Giamatti.
Yes.
You're
Done.
gonna-
Clear. Done. No.
You're gonna
no.
kill Tim Allen,
Killing Tim Allen.
and you're gonna fuck Mel Gibson.
Oh my God. This is the worst. But yes.
Okay, folks, that's gonna do it for us here at You Haven't Seen It. Just go to bed tonight knowing that Aaron's gonna fuck Mel Gibson.
Young Mel Gibson.
Young Mel Gibson.
Right after Mad Max.
Before he was known to be a piece of shit.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll see you next time. This has been
You haven't seen it?